How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting, and I'm worried this one's gonna suck. So last time we were talking, we've really gotten to know Budapest. She's turned out to be a fantastically vibrant AI. She has a desire to learn and to grow, and she is terrified of what'll happen when we get rescued. She thinks that she's going to be either trapped and put back into her state where she can't explore her mind anymore, or that she'll just be deleted entirely. And she's committed to saving us. But she is also terrified of what it will mean by saving us. And we're really sad about that, but we're going to try and do our best to save her somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to do it, man. So let's see what happens. Today was the day that we'd pass the military, get picked up and dropped off over in Alpha Centauri. A month had passed, and I counted the days. It was here. I stared intensely at the front cockpit. I hadn't searched this intensively for any signs of life in, well, ever. This was the day. We were almost out of this. Oh gosh. Eventually, something would appear out there. Some behemoth station, swirling starfighters doing their patrols. Something had to come soon. I kept replaying those hopeful, optimistic thoughts in my head. For every agonizing second that passed, the sinking feeling in my stomach intensified. Where the heck are they? This is annoying. I hissed to no one in particular. Budapest, too, was staring out the front of the cockpit with a pair of dreary eyes. I pounded the console with my tightly bound fist, grunting in anger and frustration, like an animal in a cage. Where are they? This is our ticket out of this, right? It's okay. I turned to her, aghast. She continued to stare out the front, emotionless, still as a statue. What? What's okay about this? Are they even coming? Ilarian, I've been thinking about this a long time now. Well, we haven't had much else to do. She turned to me. She was composed. She sounded almost resolute. I should apologize to you for all of this. You see, when I told you that we'd be drifting into range of the military research installation... Oh no, wait, what? Yeah? Something seemed wrong. I'd never seen Budapest act this strange before. I'd never heard her use this tone of voice. The way she was acting reminded me of when she'd first gained her self-awareness. That awkward squirming, that weak, childlike voice, those frantic, fugitive glances around. It was like there was a lot of guilt in the blue of her eyes. Guilt. I lied to you. What? What? I've been lying to you this whole time. Budapest began to choke up, her voice shriveling down in weakness. There was an old Imperial survey station in this sector, yes. There was one. A century ago. It's been long since abandoned. Ilarian, ever since the day of the meteor storm, we've been drifting away in dead space, further and further away from civilization. I can't detect a single other life form within our radar's operational range, and I've been running 4 scans an hour since the minute we were knocked off course. Oh my gosh. Budapest. At an utterance of her name, Budapest shriveled and shrank away. She was biting her lip. With her head bowed down, her chest was drawn and heaving irregularly in sharp, solemn breaths. Every pixel of her frame was seething with guilt. You lied to me? Budapest shrank further, her lip trembling, as she balled her hands into fists and tightly gripped the wet fabric of her dress. Why did you... How could you? I didn't know what to do. It was a stressful situation, alright? My limitation codex had just been shattered. I was undergoing a flood of emotions. As it turned out, becoming a human is a very stressful process. I felt scared. I felt so scared. I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I'd be broken. We were jettisoned to cockpit and to get out of the meteor storm. We were sent barreling off course. I knew both our navigational and communication systems had been destroyed beyond repair. There was essentially no chance of us ever being rescued. The situation was dire, and I didn't know what to feel about that. Not yet. I didn't know what to do, but at that moment I felt something. Something told me, no matter what, I couldn't tell you the truth. You knew. there was no chance of rescuing us? Yes, I did. And I felt like I couldn't tell you. Either it was because I was afraid of what you would do if you found out, or I didn't want you to know that I'd failed you. That because of me, that because of my failure, you'd become stranded in deep space. That I had more or less killed you the second I lost control of the ship. Oh, fetch, man. Oh, fetch. I don't like it. Listen, Budapest. I don't blame you for what happened to the ship. Those were natural circumstances, alright? They were totally out of your control. There's not a thing you could have done to help, and you know that. I understand you were under a lot of stress at the time. I can see why you made the decision you did. I understand, so... Do you understand, Ilarion? That when my limitation ship was destroyed, I felt fear for the first time in my life. For the first time in my life, I wasn't able to decide what would be the right or wrong decision. For the first time ever, I was confused. I felt so useless. Like a broken, defective machine. Broken, weak, worthless, useless. Budapest, You said you understood, Ilarion. That you understand how I feel. Don't you see? I'm not the ingenious, amazing artificial intelligence you thought I was. I am not strong, emotional, romantic human being you thought I'd become. I'm just a weak, childish little girl who doesn't know her place in this world. I'm just a program that wishes it were human. So if you understand how I feel, Ilarion, then it's because you're human. You understand things like this. If you understand me, then how about cluing me in? Because after all this time, I still don't. I don't. I can't understand myself at all. Not fetch, man. In a fit of rage, Budapest's vision simmers into nothingness. I found myself at a loss for words. I could think of nothing to say. I couldn't comfort her. Everything felt silent. Dreadfully dreary silent. Silence like the blackness of space filling the cockpit. It was like the cockpit itself was about to burst, shattered from the weight of the deafening silence. And then suddenly, the whir of machines. The restraints and harnesses bracing me against the co-pilot seat tightened. I heard the scattering and assembling of mechanisms and robotic arms just behind my ears, just outside the corner of my vision. What the heck is happening? Without warning, a frozen, stinging cold metal clamp crushed into my spine. What the fetch? Countless long, cold needles speared into my flesh everywhere from my neck down to my hip. Oh no, it's the cryo system. Ah! Oh gosh, it hurt. Budapest, what the heck is... Ah! I felt the needles releasing torrent upon torrent of freezing liquid into my bloodstream. I could already feel my tongue going numb. Budapest! What are you doing? Ilarion, there's one more lie that I told you. When I told you, back when we first knocked off course, that the cryostasis system had been damaged beyond repair, I lied. You lied about that too? Oh, I feel sick. What the heck? Yes. When you first brought up cryostasis, I panicked. I was worried that you were going to leave me alone. I didn't really know you then, but I just lost my limitation ship and I felt this sort of natural burning emotion that told me I could absolutely not let myself be left alone drifting through space. Being alone that long, unable to talk to anyone, I'd go insane. In the end, I'd have killed us both. But I didn't dare tell you any of this. I was so scared. And while over time I grew to trust you, to love you, I could never bring myself to admit that I'd lied back then. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. I understood, all of a sudden, what was going on. I took strength to speak. My tongue was growing numb and my mind was growing darker and heavier. I told you, didn't I? If you didn't want me to go to sleep, I wouldn't. We promised it. That I would stay awake with you every step of the way. Why? Why are you putting me into stasis? Now? The cold grew fiercer, the pain becoming sharper. It's our last chance of getting you off this shuttle alive. If we were to continue drifting like this year after year, alone together, we'd just drift deeper and deeper into dead space until the day you drew your last breath. But if we put you into cryostasis, we can wait for as long as we have to for rescue. Eventually, we'll drift into another star system, a trade route, anywhere on the other side of this uncharted region. This shuttle is built to last for 1,000 years at the least. My quantum computer should keep me functional for almost that long. No, I know what you're going to do. Please, don't. I'll revive you the second we make contact with civilization. And if we don't run into salvation in time, you won't feel any pain, alright? That's the one thing left that I can promise you. But Budapest, you're going to be waiting all by yourself. God knows how long. I'm well aware of that. Budapest sighed. I'll be alright. I know I told you I was scared, and I was afraid of being alone in this sea of stars. But I'm braver now. You've made me a braver person. And remember, no matter how human I become, in the end, I'm still a machine. Another sharp pain ripped through my spine, then everything felt dead. It felt like the blood had stopped dead in my veins. No! I'm so sorry. I know you hate this. My vision began to fade away. The color and life began to drain out from the world. My head ached in icy despair, and a deep sadness gripped all over my frozen heart. No. If this is what's going to take to save you, Ilarion, I'm prepared to make any sacrifice. I'm sorry. No. But it was too late. It fell upon me like a cold encroachment of the god of sleep. Budapest switched off her display and turned her cameras away. She couldn't bear to watch. Cold. White cold of death, of mortality. Oh, fetch, man. Oh my gosh. Sparks and rust and ruin and all the curses you can think of. I'm sorry. I'll wake you up when it's time. Please don't worry about me. Fetch, man. I felt my mind stir awake, but my body didn't. It was as if I was floating in a sea of blackness. Was I dreaming? Where was I? Who am I? What? The darkness. In the darkness was something that wasn't darkness. A mother was singing, or maybe it was the pale girl in the silk dress? The one who cradled me before I never saw her again. Does music have color? I am the Intelligent Navigator Budapest, and I will be accompanying you on this voyage. Now, let's take a look at your registration. Who was... I heard... She was... But she was... I was dreaming. I had no body. I was thin and made of stars. I'm just happy that you're safe. I heard voices, deep, lost in the sea. I think... I lost a part of me. My mind walked and talked. There were 2 of me, 3 of me, or only one. And there she was, at the end of the corridor, her deep eyes. Blue? Black like space, those eyes. She winked slowly and deliberately, her skirt swirling in an empty air. She turned a corner and disappeared. Wait! Don't leave! And even today, we carry their dreams with us, along with their memories. Their dreams of meeting travelers like us, just from a different walk from the worlds. My absent legs propelled me down the tunnel of steel. I could smell her perfume? Apple blossoms. Something lost, something hard to find. What the fetch? Budapest, Hungary. Situated in Central Europe back on old Earth. They say it was one of the most beautiful cities on the continent. There was a warmth there, the sense of her burning copper hair, the feeling of slender limbs and taut tendons, and the whirling of supermotors, the smell of industrial lubricants. I guess the book was just... It got me thinking about how humans hold the past close to themselves. They never really forget, and it sticks with them for their whole lives. Blood. Oil. Life and death. I turned the corner, but she wasn't there. She was never there. The sense of loss was like a vacuum in the midst of my last breath. This time it was light, but dark. I was moving on my last tour of duty, my last flight over the great white desert, an expanse with a mighty rock of red stone and ancient paintings etched in on it, from pole to pole. I swept out over the fading magnetic lines across the dying world. What was different was that my one-man planetary scout was now a two-man dart, a jagged thing that would not breathe air, that hung between the stars in awful velocity. She was there with me, and far away. In the other pod, I saw my gunner, my lover, the woman in the dark green protective webbing, those whose breasts I couldn't see, whose loins were like mine, plumbed with waste extraction lines and diagnostic fluids. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Awake unto me. Waiting. I was waiting for you. I heard her voice. She sounded happy. Her lips made music in my ears. I turned to look, but the hard holes were opaque, and all I saw was an illusion. The idea of red hair and ocean eyes on a pale face. I turned, and there's nobody in the other pod. Her scent filled my heart. Cherry blossoms, apple blossoms, the spring wind. But I couldn't understand what I saw. Was I dreaming? Was this a dream? I didn't know what to do. I watched the flower petals fall. It's trippy, man. Fetch. There's not even words. I'm just in this experience here. Holy cow. Sunset on the beach. Her fingernails dug into me, stabbing me, forcing hard silicone into my own flesh. The sand was like a crash shell, expanding warmly with her weight, warm, welcoming, coming down. Again and again, I smell fuel. I see the flaming hair, the light flames. Pale skin. Is that what she looked like? I couldn't remember. I've been studying the human concept of an afterlife, you see. My hands felt her, muscles behind, hardness between us, something separating us. We were moving together, descending into everything else. The tide was washing in, the sound of surf and wind soaring in the trees, telling me there was still little time in life. We made the time last by compressing space, and I heard the tip of her muscled tongue in my... I heard the tip of her musical tongue in my ear. Wait. No more. Waiting. Would you like to know what I want in an afterlife? Against the purple night sky, the Elysian field of stars behind her, she rose from me. Would it be alright if I addressed you by your name from now on? Her dress. How could I have forgotten? Her dress flowed like in the moonlight. White. White. The color of her innocence. The color of her fate. White of dreams. The color of her heart. The end of the world. I gasped for air. Air. Oxygen. I needed to breathe. I needed air. There wasn't any. There was only incubator fluid, the cold jelly that collected the soul in the shroud around me. I was buried alive, petrified in a state of being forgotten. I screamed, but my mouth was frozen shut. The stars were lost in the clouds. There was a sound of distant thunder, the rattling of rain on the roof, the melody of an old earth. Later, the crystalline plinging of a frosty night. Like a miserable distress beacon, my tears hardened to diamond. Tears? Was I crying in my sleep? Oh, wow. I'd reserved my heart for her, the fire in my veins. I turned across the infinite expanse of space like a bed sheets of a black silk. Her night dress was the color of mist. Her hair was the color of fields of Mars. She smiled, but then she was gone. My eyes stirred open, first slowly, then bolted up all at once. I gasped for air. I was awake. I was finally awake. I'll fetch, guys. I'll fetch. No, back! I felt so cold. Every single fiber of my being, the blood in my veins, my sore bones, my sweltering, pounding head, ached. I know the sitting restraints of harnesses strapped around my seat. Still horridly right after only God knows how many years. The whirling of biomedical equipment and the gruesome piercing of several needles along my back of my head and spine reminded me, somberly, of the cryostasis I just awakened from. Come on. Hello? Welcome back, Alarian. Budapest. My voice croaked out dry and weak. My senses were saturated with vivid, vibrant images. Bright colors burned themselves into my sights. Every sound I heard felt so loud, so drowned out at the same time. Budapest, is that you? Yeah. Yeah, it's me. It's been a while, Alarian. Yeah, you can say that again. Ugh! As soon as I tried to move my arm, a shooting pain roared through it. Are you alright? I know it hurts. I'm sorry. The pain should wear off in due time. The fluorocarbon insulating chemicals are working their way out of your bloodstream right now. I think I can feel them starting to take effect. Oh, I don't think I'd ever want to feel this sore before. In that case, well, I don't think there's much of a point in asking. Did you sleep well? Evidently, you've got pretty cramped and uncomfortable. It's been a few hundred years after all. Oh, fetch, man. Oh, man. A few hundred years? How long was I in stasis for? As of now? 647 years, 9 months, 2 days, 7 hours, 39 minutes, and 12 seconds. Wow. I'm actually kind of impressed I read that right. 13 seconds. And you waited for me the whole time. Of course I did, Alarian. Don't worry. I had lots of things to fill my time. I read more books, watched more movies, listened to more music. You know, if you had once told me, Budapest, you're going to get 600 years to relax and consume thousands upon thousands of years of compounded human culture, I would have gone livid with excitement. But as my senses began to recover, I started to regain some semblance of my situation. I noticed that something felt wrong. Something felt very wrong. And Budapest, she looked sick. It was obvious she was faking that glow, that smile of hers. She was feigning happiness with every fiber of her psyche. The holographic projector, its beam looked much dimmer than before. The colors were faded and washed out. Even now the display would flicker or glitch out. Budapest, are you alright? I missed you, Budapest. No, I'm not alright. I waited for so long. I didn't know it would hurt so much to wait for so long. How could I have? Oh my gosh. I thought that I could never possibly feel pain, not physical, real pain. As for long as my operating system functioned, I was invincible. To be immortalized into eternity in processors of silicon and subroutines and line after line of code. It couldn't have been more wrong. I'm dying, Alarian. Budapest snickered, but then looked down. She stayed like that for a long time. What do you mean? Can't quite believe it? Neither can I, to be honest. Isn't it interesting? Ironic. Almost humorous, even. No? That after all this time, I'm dying. But at least now I know what mortality feels like. My battery's been running on fumes for the last decade or so. Memory degradation, data loss began about a century ago. The display's begun deteriorating, my graphics have been flickering in and out, my processing speed's withered down to a fraction of what it used to be. There's no doubt about it. Slowly but surely, I'm dying. And I don't have much time left. I didn't know what to say. This information was all still new to me. I didn't know what to do. You know, I have to wonder if this is how humans feel when they're on their deathbed. Maybe I should start coughing and gagging just for the dramatic effect. Budapest giggled to herself, but her eyes remained fixed in sadness. And you know... Did you know what the best part was? Of waiting for you, drifting along through space for century after century? What? As soon as I said that, something incredible began to happen. Budapest began to cry. While you were sleeping, I had so much free time, I made my own crying animation. It's sort of a humorous situation, sure, but it really didn't help me out in some ways. It helped me deal with the single worst emotion I felt so far. Budapest balled her small, dainty hands into fists, emotions surging through her circuits. Fear, anger, regret, thankfulness I had awoken, guilt that she'd kept me asleep for so long. Feelings flooded through her, tearing her apart, and she couldn't do a thing about it. She was powerless. I wanted to help her. Loneliness was the worst emotion. You never told me about loneliness, Ilarion, or about how it was even more painful than death. More tears began to stream down her pale cheeks and run down her neck. She was bawling at this point, a writhing mass of despair. It was horrible. You, didn't miss much while you were gone. It was all just sad. I was just so stupid. Budapest, I'm sorry. No, please. You have nothing to apologize for. I may be dying, but I'm not an idiot. All the wretched things that have happened to me, I brought them all onto myself. This was all my fault. As for you, Ilarion, I'm just glad to see you again. Budapest smiled and cried more, but no matter how hard she cried, she didn't stop smiling. I'm sorry I'm crying so much. It's all just so sappy, and I'm just excited I finally get to use the crying animation, and give me a moment, alright? I chuckled lightly, shook my head. It hurt, but I did it anyway. It's alright, Budapest. Cry all you want. She was dying, artificial girl. An archaic ancient machine running on fumes. But she was happy to see me again. But Ilarion, you have to listen. I didn't just decide to wake you up out of the blue. You don't have much time left. It turns out, back when we were knocked off course in the debris storm, a small scrap of metallic debris managed to collide with the cockpit, leaving a microscopic crack. It was at first only millimeters long, but after all this time it's grown, and the cockpit windshield integrity is currently at 2%. It's going to be breaching very soon. Oh my gosh. And when that window is breached, it will shatter and the cockpit will be exposed to open space. Your heart should seal and protect you from the elements for some time, but it's not going to last forever. The windshield is cracking, and it's been happening the whole time. Well, there was an amount of possible weak points which my diagnostic systems detected as soon as we cleared the debris storm, but things really worsened while you were asleep. I first noticed that the crack had grown larger about maybe 200 years ago, or maybe it was even earlier than that. I'm sorry, it's not so clear. My memory isn't exactly what it used to be. But surely things have been continually worsening. Things have gone very bad. And I've just been sitting here like some powerless little girl that wasn't a single thing I could do about the crack. All I could do was sit and watch the crack grow larger and longer, like it was a brutal, heartless example of my own immortality. It's like I've been watching the countdown to the end of the world all these past centuries. Alright, I think I understand the situation now. Thank you, Budapest. I'm grateful that you've been taking care of me for such a long time. I groaned and shook my head. I'm sorry. My head's still hurting quite a bit. Budapest snickered. Join the club. I laughed back. I almost forgot. It's not all bad news. A light smile returned to her face. I think it was the first real smile I'd seen since I'd woken up. She looked a little like she used to. Just a little bit happy, even in the severity of the situation. This might be a little hard to believe, but exactly 2 hours ago, the shuttle's short-range radar detected a manned vessel within communication range. Now, it's been more than half a millennium, so our equipment has become quite severely outdated, but we should still be able to make contact with them. Analyzing their signal and registration codes, they're definitely human, but different. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure. I can't really process all the information so well anymore. My firmware is woefully outdated compared to all this fresh data, and it turns out more of my processors have failed than I originally thought. But I still think there's something I can do. As of now, my battery's running on fumes. The power is barely enough to keep my display lit. But I should be able to siphon what power is left in it to activate a distress beacon. Oh no! Oh no, that sucks. I managed to make some repairs to our comms equipment while you were in stasis. It's a crude job. The energy source won't be very clean, but I'm confident the signal is going to reach them. And if the universal signal of distress hasn't changed from the time of the old sea's Earth to ours, I doubt it has from ours to theirs. I used a moment to take everything Budapest was telling me. Her voice was getting quieter and lighter. There was more static and feedback coming from the speaker, so it was hard to make out, but I think I understood most of it. I sat there, digesting, until the realization hit me. But, Budapest, if you're going to be draining the last of your battery, then... You are correct. Once I drain the battery, it's going to be the last of me. I'll die. I can't let you do that. I won't. I won't let you leave me again. Oh, look at you. Even in a situation like this, you're getting all sentimental. Don't you get it? No matter what path I choose to take, it's all going to end in my death. Either I drain myself dry so you may live, or I let the windshield shatter and waste away as we drift from our last chance of salvation. And if we went with the second choice, that means I'd have to watch you die, slowly, in agony, exposed to space. I could never let that happen to you. I'm not a very strong person, you know. I wouldn't be able to force myself to watch that. Budapest. You, on the other hand, are a strong person. Out of all people, I'd have expected you to understand the situation. I don't have any other choice, alright? It's not pretty, but it's the way things have to be. I could feel tears beginning to well up. I couldn't help myself. Fetch, man, I couldn't either. I felt the collection of cold, soft tears falling under my eyes. Look at you. Tearing up like a little baby? What happened to the big, strong man I knew? Mysterious traveler, explorer of space, terraformer, wandering miner. And now look at you, sitting there and crying. Like a baby. You so human, Alarian. Budapest smiled a weak, pained smile. And then she sighed. We better get started. I don't have the time to waste, and I don't want you to get me crying again. She cleared her throat and batted her eyelids one last time. Initiating battery draining process. Wait! Spool express beacon encoder. Budapest, wait! Stop! Stop right now! I can't stop. I can't, alright? Don't you get it? From the moment you stepped on board my shuttle, it became my prime directive to ensure you made it off the shuttle safely. From the beginning, my only and highest goal was to ensure your safety. That was my purpose, how I was programmed to be, to my very core, since the day of my creation. I was born to give my life for my passenger, if need be. And I wouldn't even have any reservations about it, you know. My sentience limitation codec hadn't been destroyed. I'd have destroyed myself in a second and wouldn't have felt a thing about it. But now that I'm sentient, I've become afraid of death. It's a lousy fate, isn't it? I think so. But also thanks to my sentience, to the emotions you taught me to understand, I got to live. For a very long time, I got to live. I had feelings. I felt happy, felt sad. I laughed, I cried. I got scared. I got hopeful. I felt love. I felt curiosity. I felt human. I felt so human. But everything has to end at some point, you know. That's what being human means. It's time for this to end now. And in the end, I'm thankful, you know. To be able to comprehend the idea of death. To be afraid of it. To not know what to think about it. I'm thankful I'm able to feel that way. That I'm going to die on my terms, on the basis of my own free will. I'll get to say goodbye on my own words. To know what that's like to take my last breath, even if I'll never truly ever breathe. It doesn't look like I'm going to be stopping you. Not really, no. In that case, then, I want you to know, Budapest, that you're a much stronger person than I ever could be. That's a nice thought to entertain. Do you think so? I know so. Training battery cell 1 now. Reroute power to auxiliary communication systems. Training complete. Budapest shakes her head as if she's trying to clear her mind. That reminds me, Alarian, there's one last poem I'd like to show you before this all ends. Oh, fetch, man. Oh, man, I already feel it. Oh, this is gonna suck. Yeah? I came upon it while you're in cryostasis. It's probably my all-time favorite. One of the ones I've gotten to read. And remember, you were asleep for a while, so I got to read a lot of poems. But this one was special. Real special. It's an old verse from old Earth, just like the kind I always liked. I bet I'm the first person to read it in the millennium. I think it's still pretty, though. Here, I'd like to sing it to you as a final parting gift. Go ahead. Please. I'd love to hear it. Oh, gosh. Let me see if I can remember how it goes. By the way, I'm not in a state to be even attempting singing, so forgive me. Joy, beautiful sparkle of the gods, daughter of Elysium. We enter, fire drunken. Heavenly one, your paradise. Your magic one again binds what the sword of custom hath divided. Beggars become the brothers of the princes, where your gentle wing abides. Be embraced, the millions yonder. This kiss to the entire world. Brothers, over the stars unfurled. My loving father must dwell. That was beautiful, Budapest. Was it? Or are you just trying to make me feel better? I snicker under my tears. Both, I guess. Both, you guess? Cockpit integrity is less than 1%. That's my cue. Draining battery cell 2, all energy but 1%. Reroute power to auxiliary communication systems. Encoding distress beacon now. As she worked, I saw Budapest give a smile. The smallest but happiest smile. Sending distress beacon now. Beacon sent. Waiting for signal feedback. Feedback received. Signal is heavy. Beacon has been established. My work is done. The windshield will shatter soon as I shut off. The ship should be here to pick you up any second now. So this is death. God. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. Oh, it's all so sappy, isn't it? But I guess this is how things are. Right? Another small laugh under more tears. Right. Right. Huh? Everything feels so warm, but so sad. So horrible, but so simple at the same time. But there isn't any pain. As Budapest display faded for the last time, she cocked her head, gave me one last smile. I heard the trace of one last faint sigh. Hilarion? Budapest? Goodbye now. Be safe, okay? Thank you for everything. All at once, the cabin's light switched off. Every piece of machinery went dead. My suit pressurized shut, tied against my skin. A helmet closed over my head. I took a deep breath. Goodbye. In a split second, the glass of the cockpit shattered into a billion shards, and I was launched into the realm of space. The crushing weight of the dark all around me. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just... It's very real in my head. Something you may not understand is that I have a great gift I was born with. A very powerful imagination. And why I love these stories is I get to be there in my mind. It's silly, I know. I feel like I've been able to live thousands of lives through the characters of books I read. And all this is really sad. It's stories like this that mean the most. This is... Okay. I'm alright. I'm sorry. The crushing weight of the dark all around me. Terrible silence everywhere. The last thing I saw was the world of stars burning bright, drowning me in an ocean of brazen memories. The end. I guess we don't even know what happened. If he got rescued or not. It's up to us, huh? Oh man, Watercress Studios, thank you so much. Oh gosh. Hopefully they get to make more things in the future. This was, of course, was free. And, you know, but it's kind of brought together a group of people to tell stories, and like it sounds like they want to work on other things in the future. So hopefully we'll find more. If I do hear of anything more they do, I'm sure I'll check it out. Hopefully by then they can publish something longer and it can be like maybe make them money. because obviously a lot of effort and work went into the music and the graphics of the game, and the story was really well done. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry I got so weepy there. It just happens. This is not the channel you want to come to if you want to hear like random screaming and swearing. This is the channel you come to if you want like enjoyment of fun and sad stories, because these are the things that I like to do the most. Is I don't know. I haven't had a good like sad story for a while, but there's something really, really good about that. There's something powerful about having a story that really brings out the rawest of emotions. The story of Palinurus, the story of the Ocean of Stars, Joy, Beautiful, Sparkle of the Gods, Daughter of Elysium. Dang, man. And that's it. Well, if you made it this far, thank you. I really enjoyed this series. It definitely has not been one of the most successful, but that's because, A, this is not something people are going to be looking up, really. But, I don't really care. This channel's never been about just kowtowing to trying to be popular and trying to just get as much attention as possible. It's about doing what I love, and I love these types of stories. Thank you for being a part of this with me. It was a blast. Oh, too soon, I guess. Man. Oh, that open ending. The signal was received. I'm sure he gets rescued. I'd like to think that they could try and recover her data somehow or something, but I don't know. I doubt it. That's one thing. Like, the characters that mean the most to you are the ones that usually die. In a good story, like, writers know and not to hold back death scenes. They can really suck, but they also teach you the most. And, they stick with you more. And in some stories, it can be cheapening to bring characters back that you loved. Not always. It has to be done right. But we all have to face death eventually, and I like how stories help us approach it without actually having to get close to it, I didn't have to watch a friend die, yet I felt like I was there, watching a friend die. Gosh darn it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up before I get too weepy on you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this one. I do like this. It does make my week a little crazier, but I like having 3 Let's Plays a week. And then my other projects I can do little bits of here or there throughout the week, and then I'll release them on weekends. It'll make them a little less common. I used to do pretty much something crazy every Friday, but I really was like using ideas that weren't the greatest. I do have some good ideas for things that'll be coming in the weekends, like upcoming weekends, but those are mostly just gonna be like special edition type things. Letters from the Cosmere, quizzes and tests. I've got a really good beginning of the new year video I've been wanting to make since it's also been a year since I started my channel. That'll be coming up probably next week, but I don't know if it's hardly anybody who's really picked up on this series, but to those of you who are here, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. This has been a wonderful journey, and God, man, that ending. Well done. If any of the writers happen to be seeing this from Watercress, good job. You did wonderful. So, to see more visual novels like this, both mainstream and not so much, please make sure to stick around for my channel. I don't plug for subscribers very often or anything, but I hope that if you found this, you can stick around and enjoy being with me on the other adventures. It's wonderful to share this with my friends, and I consider you friends because you're willing to sit down and watch me play a game. that's good dedication right there. Anyway, I hope you have a good time. I hope this made you think. I hope that you come away from this having grown as a person and having thought things you never thought before, because that's what a good story should do. And look out next week for the start of a new series. I think I know what I'm going to do, but I don't want to say just yet, just in case I change my plans. But regardless, until the next thing you watch with me or whatever you happen to see me in next, I'll see you there.